shoe drive. So with that in mind, just and why are we collecting new shoes versus used shoes? Because some people are like, oh, my kids have shoes. I get that, but you got to understand, some of these kids have never had a new pair of shoes.
Wow.
It is time for us to change the dynamic for these babies.
No, I love it. I mean, again, this is an initiative that, again, we could easily attach to. And so, again, I just wanted to make sure that we were sharing it. Like you said, for the older kids, so I made sure I at least got at least a one size big enough for the kids, if you will. So, I picked up a few pair. I got to link up with you something for, so hopefully,
Okay.
yeah, definitely want to get these kids these new shoes, because I understand that from a psychology standpoint. It was nothing like the first day of school. You really wanted to have, some fresh new shoes. It meant a lot. And so
Yeah.
I never forgot that feeling. It still sticks with me. I still keep my shoes fresh, remembering that feeling.
Exactly.
And I never was necessarily, fortunate enough. I was never unhoused, but I definitely had some years where my shoes wasn't up to par, if you will, right? so that stuff sticks with you. So I know I love this initiative. Again, just wanted to share it. Matter of fact, let me put the flyer up again. I kind of showed it at the
But one
beginning.
thing I did want to say real quick,
No, yeah,
Monte,
please, Queen.
is just a feeling for people to kind of understand. Kids can be really mean sometimes in school. They
Yeah,
just can, right? Kids will pick on a piece of your hair being out of place. But
right.
imagine being somebody who's been in this situation. And I'll say this organization keeps it really nice where kids in other schools, they don't even know that these kids are in this situation, right?
Wow,
Because
nice.
they actually do a really good job of making sure that they're aware of that. But at the same time, you go to school, your shoes are busted first day of school. Guess what? You're going to be the kid that got busted shoes on the first day of school. And that's going to stick with you. And think about what that does to a child's self esteem. So if y'all can do this one thing for me, one thing, they're reasonably priced. If you look on the Amazon list and they're not ones that are even in your budget right now, that's totally fine. Because a lot of the ones that are, because I think the highest price we did was like $45 was the highest price we did. We had some that were like $20 or something like that. But if that's not something you can do, go to the store, pick up a pair. Even if we end up with extra, they are going to expand their location from 30 families to 60.
That's
That's
awesome.
something they have in the works. Yo, we can do this. So I'm asking y'all, don't do it for me. Like, seriously, do it for the kids.
I'm gonna give a personal anecdote because it sticks with me, and it's particularly to shoes. Matter of fact, so um, every year, I would get my one brand new pair of shoes, to your point, for the first day of school, right? And just the situation I was in, I wasn't getting another pair. So I was always diligent about keeping my shoes clean. And I'm still like that to this day. But it came from that period as a kid, knowing I wasn't gonna get a second pair quite often, like a lot of my friends or whatever. But my mom would leave the responsibility of my shoes to my father or whatever, right? My dad really was into knowing brand shoes, but he wouldn't necessarily get them for me or whatever. And so I literally remember prior to the school year, literally doing this several summers where I would go through the actual. Remember, we used to get those advertising in the newspaper. So I would go to the newspaper, get the
Yeah,
advertising.
yeah.
Yep, I would literally go through them and try to pick out just shoes that were not called, like buddies, if you would. We call them buddies, the ones that nobody liked or whatever. And I would just
Buddies,
try to,
Bobos,
yeah.
Skippies.
So I
Yeah,
was
all
trying to pick
that.
out the shoes that were not considered that, but not too high price, because I knew I wasn't gonna be able to get like the best shoes like some of my friends got. But I was like, I would literally pick them out and try to give them to my father to say, can you at least get me these? Because I knew if I got those, I wouldn't be picked on.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
did that every year until I got back to the seventh grade. My dad was short. I started wearing his shoes. So all I did then, I would just get a pair of his, something that he didn't, whatever. They were still clean because my dad had so many, so they was all nice. And so that's what. But I remember the years before I could wear his size, I literally would do that every year, just not to be picked on. And again, it stuck with me. And so when I
Yeah.
got to college, people still will be surprised at how long. To this day, I can keep shoes for years because of that habit of having to keep one pair of shoe for an entire school season.